So this week, Xbox CEO Phil Spencer appeared on the Xboxera podcast to share some interesting insights about the future of Xbox. I will leave the link to the interview below. Within the podcast, they talked about the latest development direct show he attended and took some interesting questions, one of them being about the multi-platform. As they have started to show more games being released into different platforms within the development direct show, Phil answered by saying, I just want to be transparent with people. For shipping on Nintendo Switch, we're going to put that. For shipping on PlayStation and Steam, people should know the storefronts where they can get our games. But I want people to be able to experience our Xbox community in our games and everything we have to offer on every screen we can. Obviously, not every screen is equal. Like there's certain things we cannot do on other closed platforms that we can do on open platforms. Cloud is different, but games should be the thing that we focus on. Sony has most likely got specific requirements for Xbox to follow as they continue releasing more titles onto PlayStation storefront. To be honest, this is not a bad thing for us, I think. It gives us more freedom to play what we want, plus it's a win for PlayStation, as this could attract more players from Xbox onto the PlayStation Network. They went on to ask about the Activision Blizzard drama with the FTC. It was about how Sony used the 30% that they make on Xbox published games on their platform. Phil answered this question by saying, we would love to make all of the money for all of the games that we ship, right? Like obviously we make more on our own platform. It's one of the reasons that investing in our own platform is important. But there are people, whether it's their libraries on PlayStation or Nintendo, whether it's they like the controller better, they just like the games that are there. I don't want to then look at that and say, well, there's no way that we should be able to build a business there, find fans of our own franchise there. I'm not trying to move them all over to Xbox anymore. Just to put that in some context, what they are talking about is the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft and the scrutiny from the FTC. One of the central aspects of this drama revolved around the competition in the gaming market. PlayStation had a significant market share in the gaming, and a common point was the 30% revenue cut that PlayStation typically takes from sales of third-party games published on their platform. This practice raised concern about fair competition, especially with Microsoft gaining control of Activision Blizzard, popular franchise like Call of Duty. Personally, I think the acquisition of Activision was a bad move for Microsoft on their part. At the cost of $68.7 billion, and for what? Most of it is most, if not all, of the games went straight onto Game Pass. And now any new games come out are just unfinished and lack any heart. I also think that Microsoft knew that they cannot compete with Sony's hardware or games. And I do believe that the Series S has hurt Microsoft more than what they would like to admit to. And they're just not able to deliver great games anymore and stories that Sony's first party can release. For instance, you have great games like The Last of Us, Spider-Man 2018, God of War, Uncharted, and don't forget the Game of the Year Astrobot. And I can go on. And if I can just add one more piece of information, if you look at the sales between them both, of which I will get into Sony's financial report in the next part of this video, PlayStation have outsold Microsoft something like 4-1. I read that Sony has sold more PlayStations in 3 months, can you believe it, 3 months, than Microsoft has sold in one entire year, which is mind-boggling when you think about it. The real question is whether or not Sony will ever let Xbox games onto their own streaming services. Imagine playing Forza or Gears of War, for instance, on a PlayStation Portal. Now that would be weird, but I just can't see that happening anytime soon. Sony has always been pretty protective of their ecosystem. I also don't think Xbox is heading down the same path as Sega. What they are just pulling out of the console market completely and going software only. I'm pretty confident they are already working on the next generation of hardware. Since the launch of the Series X, they might be shifting more of their focus on going more multi-platform in the future, but I don't think they're going away from console manufacturing anytime soon. This brings us nicely to the next piece of news. So I've just finished watching Sony's third quarter financial report. I'll link the video below. All I can say is they must be on cloud 9. They are having a fantastic third quarter and breaking records, which I will come back to later in the video. So Hiroki Toroki will become Sony's next CEO as of 1st of April, and he will be taking over from Kenyaku Yoshida, if that's how you pronounce his name. I probably butchered that name completely. So we'll go into some facts and figures about what was in the presentation. Within Sony's gaming and network services, they reported 1.683.2 billion yen, which is about $11.29 million. This is an increase year on year from 16%, as of the same time last year, of 1.444.4 billion yen, which is about $9.7 million. This is primarily down to hardware and their third-party software sales. Also, their operation income in third quarter financial year 24 up by 31%, record-breaking amount, by the way, of 118.1 billion yen, approximately $786 million, due to increasing network and third-party sales, as well as better profitability in hardware. As you can see in the chart, the PS5 units sold is up from 8.2 million units in Q3 to 9.5 million units in Q3 This works out around about 1.3 million units more than in Q3 And within this number, there was an increase of 43% of these were new players coming to the PlayStation ecosystem, which is great to see. Moving on to the digital and physical game sales. And I will be rounding these figures up and down just to make it easier on myself. Digital sales made around about 323 million yen in Q3 This is up from 282 million yen in Q3 Physical sales are down from 87 million yen to 44 million yen. This itself is a big drop off from physical sales, showing that more people are just buying digital games rather than physical ones. If you just look at the physical sales in Q3 it was 87 million yen, which is a drop-off of 65%, if my math is correct, that is, which just shows that we are not buying physical games anymore, and I am one of them. For me, it's just down to convenience. When it comes to buying my games, everything is at your fingertips on the PSN storefront. Now, I know you'll be saying in the comments, but you can't resell your games, and Sony can take away your rights to play your games. And yes, I know all this. And I know we had the 24-hour outage on PlayStation Network not that long ago, but I was still able to play my games offline without any problems. And yes, I know that they have to do like a handshake every now and then, and if I'm offline all the while, that could be a problem. And I know all this, and I'm still like digital games. It just saves me time and space in the long run. And also, I can just swap the games over whenever I want. I don't have to get up and go to the console, take the disc out, put the disc in the case, get the other disc out of the case, put that into the console, and go and back sit down. I know it's laziness, but I just how I like it. It's convenient for me now. I mean, let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Do you like digital only, or do you like physical only, or are you a mix of both? Write in the comments what you think. Right, going back to the financial report. Keeping with the digital game sales between PlayStation 4 and 5, you can see the sales on the PS4 games are now decreasing due to the uptake of the PS5 over this period of Q3 23 to Q3 24, depending. This is dropping year on year. So you can understand why PlayStation has decided to start dropping the PS4 games from the monthly PlayStation Plus catalog, as I mentioned in my last video last week. If you look back to when PS4 was first launched in November 2013 and costing around about £349, I don't know what that is in dollars, I've done the figuration, to the end of December 2017, they sold around about 76.6 million units. If you compare that to the sales of the PS5, costing around 450 from the launch and to the end of the same month period in 2024, they have sold around about 74.9 million units, even though the PlayStation is at a higher pricing point. Now we move on to one of PlayStation's record-breaking figures. When it comes to monthly active users on the PSN network, that has increased by 5%. I know 5% don't sound a lot, but it is a lot. From Q3 23 to Q3 24 is now sitting around about 129 million active users. Part of this could be down to new PS5 owners joining the PSN network, and also the push that Sony tried to make with PC players by bringing in compulsory PSN network linkage to your PC gaming account, like Helldivers 2 and Ghost of Tsushima and others titles. I know that they have now backtracked on this and have made it a choice for you to either choose to go on to PSN or not. But this is still the highest number in PlayStation's history. And hopefully this could get better even now when Xbox is now starting to sell games on the PSN store. This could bring players from that console over to the PSN network. Financial briefing, they talked about the PS Portal beta period. By learning from the testing stage, they want to improve the overall game experience to be able to play the games anytime, anywhere, and want to make the experience more better and easier to going forward. Also, you're now to play over 120 more titles as long as you are linked to a PS Plus Premium account. That's all we have for this week's video. I'm Nathan Redfield. You've been great, and I'll talk to you next week. Be good, be safe, and I'll catch you later.